my own. So I'm sure everyone in the chat knows what I think about this. I don't like it. I think you could go like, if we do Rodrygo and Eze and Gyökeres maybe as the fourth attacker, okay. But even in that situation, the money, look, Chelsea expecting offers of more than £50 million for Noni Madueke. Why are you spending £50 million on depth? I'll be so real. I don't really think this is going to happen. I think what's happening here is...
Am I bad if I say I hope that's the case? But go on.
Yeah, it would be a big risk. Look, ultimately, I think I would be very not concerned by it, but I'd be very skeptical of it. I would allow it more if we'd done other stuff. You know, if we get to that position, Eze, Rodrygo, and Gyökeres, sorry, and then we go and sign Madueke for 50 million. Okay, fine. I mean, I'm not sure it was going to work, but fine. But then you're going. I mean, that's going to be what, a 200 and probably over £300 million spend. I just can't see that happening either without a sale or something happening. Look, the player, like, I think he's a decent ball carrier. I think physically he's quite good. He's quite good in the 1v1. But like, look, if you sat me down,
I do like his attitude. If I'm honest, like, he thinks he's better than what he is. I'd rather that than someone that's got all the ability and not believe in themselves. I'm scratching. I'm nitpicking for positives, kid.
Yeah, I just for that fee. If it was like a cut price, we're selling Trossard or we're getting Madueke for 10 mil or something, I'd be like, okay, like, let's just see how he goes, because he plays both sides, and I think there is some quality to him. There are some people who think he's about to explode, and they have some sort of underlying data and stuff. But yeah, personally, I don't.
Do you believe that? Like, forget Arsenal for a sec. Do you believe that with Madueke?
I don't know, but
like, just him as a player. Forget the Arsenal links.
I currently don't see it, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. But I think ultimately, I just don't see how this is going to work. That's basically my position. I don't understand the world where I go, Noni Madueke for £50 million was a good signing. Like, that's that world, wherever we get to, whether it's with loads of other signings or he works out or this player goes, that player. I don't know how we do that. Equally, though, we have been in, and this is not about Madueke, this is just a general comment. We've been critical, we've been critical about Ben White for 50 million. We've probably been critical about the fee for Thomas Partey,
Ramsdale,
or Ramsdale, or you could go
through. Even I know he's stinking up the place right now, but Odegaard initially, when he came on loan, to add fuel to your fire. Yeah, Gabriel. There was a time fans said Pablo Mari was better than Gabriel Magalhaes. I have not forgotten that.
Yeah. I don't know. I right now, as I sit here, I don't know. But if we're trying to find a positive, I think Arteta has a decent.
I don't know who said that, but fair enough. I don't know who said that. That comment. Fans. Yeah, it has to be Chelsea fans, because they knew this was going to
happen. Yeah, and also the Chelsea signing as well. It's just yeah. But also Arteta has a good record with wingers. I don't know. Frankly, I don't know. I don't see it right now.
And that's the thing with me. Yeah, is that the only kind of positives I can see. And in fact, before I say that, I will say this. Yeah, I actually, if we do sign Madueke, I'm going to say it. I don't believe in him. I don't want him. I don't think it makes sense. But if you sign for the football club, going through the human aspect, you get my support. Even if you became a great player, and I'd say, sorry, you won't be the first or the last player that's doubted a fan base and gone and done your thing. Beyond the fact that we clearly work with Chelsea and buy players from them, he is only 23. In terms of where he plays, not necessarily him as an individual, you can see how he ties in and longevity and all of that. And especially piggybacking off what you said, if there's genuinely people that know a lot more than us that say he's about to explode, great. If it's a pure depth signing, all right, cool. If your form's out this well, then you do your thing, great. But then I look at it, you're probably better off the right. You're not going to get that many minutes when Saka is there. And I'd even like Wanyeri to get minutes out there if he's not going to get it centrally. To which, are you going to play off the left? To which goes back to what I said to you, in that I don't see how you're better than Trossard and Martinelli. You might be, but I just don't see it evident at this moment. Now, I don't want to talk about things above my pay grade, but 50 odd million out of our budget is probably quote unquote be significant. What does that mean for Eze? Even if you got Eze, he's probably better off the left than him. But what would that mean for Eze in theory? What would that mean for Rodrygo? What would that mean? Because we're probably committed just over 100 million if you get Gyökeres and Zubimendi. I don't agree with it. And I know it's bad mind to say, Alex, but you said then that you don't think it will happen. That's actually something I want to happen. And I actually think it will happen, because the rumors say that they want 50. We've got 40. Maybe I'm naive, but it feels like there's a resolution. I mean, Chelsea want to keep their clients happy. No, they might let us win this because they know we'll be back. I just don't know how it makes us better. I'll be rooting for it, but Arteta did say goosebumps. I can't say this gives me goosebumps, bro. It's crazy. It's dark, man. So
the stuff about when Aries come out, and people say, you know, that's
I'm scared, man.
It's agent talk or whatever. But clubs do this as well. I think I suspect we will have a if we wanted Noni Madueke at all costs, and he was the number one signing for Arsenal that we absolutely wanted to go for, it would have happened already. It's clearly not a massive. It's clearly
keep
not
saying that, man. Keep saying that.
Fee. It's clearly not some. You know, like if we wanted Noni Madueke was our number one transfer signing for 20. It would have already happened. He's clearly not wanted at Chelsea. He clearly wants to go. It would just happen, right? So I think for me, this is in relation. This is an option. This is maybe something to do with the Eze transfer or the Rodrygo transfer, maybe to show them that we have other options, to show Madrid we have other options, or to show Ethan that we could replace.
Yeah, but it's like going out with Kelly Rowland and you got a fat girl from the pub where Madueke is, because you can show you got options, but I don't know if Real Madrid are gonna believe that. Like.
I don't think he's that bad, but yeah,
I don't think you're wrong now. Yeah, I'm exaggerating a bit. A man said he'd rather see Robbie on the right hand side than Noni. See, it's just crazy. Big up Robbie, but that's the thing, though, man. That's the thing. And like for me, I don't even think Eze would work his best magic off the left for us. Now, I'm not gonna ask you, do you want Eze? Me and you have waxed lyrical about him before. I don't think there's an Arsenal fan that doesn't want him. And I would have to say sorry to the club, because I've been saying all summer, if we were to get Gyökeres 27, I don't think we would get Eze 27, because, you know, we like the stars of tomorrow kind of thing. I'd love to see that. That would tell me win now mode. But if we were to get Eze's a better option off the left-hand side than Madueke, and actually everybody who's there already. And that's me assuming he's going to play off the left. We all know he could play as an 8, he could play as a 10, he's probably better off the right than probably Madueke, and he can play as a false 9. And with the Ethan thing, I do think he'd sign a new deal, but I wouldn't begrudge him if he naturally is thinking about more first team football, because on paper you've played a lot and all of those things. But if you do have Kai Havertz fit, he's an option to maybe play in the 10 ahead of you. Obviously you've got Odegaard. If you get Eze and Rodrygo, they can also play in the 10. The 8 positions, or the midfield positions behind the 10, they look a bit stocked. Right hand side, you know, you could get minutes off Saka. I would have liked Wanyeri just to be exposed to the left last season. I don't think he's going to go for that. So I think I think he'll sign, and I think you're right in that it's one of those things with the games and whatnot. But every day that ticks, you get a bit more. Is it going to be the case? For what it's worth, though, for you, where would you see Eze playing? If not necessarily one position, like, do you think he's a multi-functional kind of plug and play? What would you want to see, and what ideas would you have for Eze?
I think he could be a number of things. I think he could play left, although I think he needs support with runners.
Which goes back to what you said about left back.
Yeah. I think he could play left centre mid. I think he could play right centre mid. I haven't seen him play on the right, but I think he has at one point.
Can do that, man.
Yeah, I think he could do a number of different things. I think with the release clause and with the fact that it can be paid in installments, this feels like a deal that could be done. I suspect we probably went into the window thinking centre forward, left winger, maybe another forward potentially, and as they sort of come up. But I really like this. I think as is one of the only players that I look at and I think I can pause what you're doing and I can't predict what you're about to do. And that's massive in this Arsenal team. With Saka, he's incredibly efficient and he gets it done, but I know what he's going to do.
He's a black iron Robin. You know what's happening.
You know exactly what's about to happen. And you can't stop it, which is great. But but I think with Eze, we need a bit of invention. We need a bit of magic.
Central areas, man.
Street footballer, like I know he's spoken loads about the cages and stuff that he's played in. Like, you need a bit of that, and so yeah, I'm a big fan of it. Also, as an Arsenal fan, as a 27-year-old, I don't think he's losing that. There was an interview with him on the BBC where he talked about like how he just wants to entertain people, and I think that'll be really exciting.
And we've been starved of, if I'm honest, entertainment. And I just think he'll be good. He's good on the transition. He's good in the pockets. The release clause, the way they want the release clause to be paid, it all makes sense. Now, obviously, we're not going to see any resolution with that, but this is the kind of guy I want. And I'd say of the Eze news, beyond the obvious, Alex, I think the thing that interested me the most is David Ornstein. He kind of said that Eze is irrelevant from our pursuit of a left winger and a striker, which tells me that, you know, we're getting 3 attackers, which David Ornstein also said. But I don't know, man. You know me, I don't like to put my heart on the line when it comes to these signings. That's why I'm kind of when it comes to Eze and definitely Rodrygo and all of these kind of things. For now, I can only deal with Zubimendi, with Norgard, with Kepa. I'm getting there with Gyökeres, even though it's not been confirmed. And I know people like to say this when it suits them, but he is Premier League proven. Be honest. Do you think we're gonna get him where Rodrygo's concerned?
It would make a lot of sense of this window to me. It would make a lot of this sense because I still don't think with Gyökeres that's like the blockbuster signing that we wanted. I also don't think there's a blockbuster centre forward out there really that is available.
No, there isn't. It would have been Isaac, but it's neither here nor there.
And so I think it's probably gonna have to be a winger, and I think this would be the blockbuster signing. It would make a lot of sense. I can't tell you what I'd do for him. I love it. I love the idea. I love it, and I think it's perfect for us right now where he's at. It's so funny how these things change because the Rodrygo, Arsenal looking at Rodrygo, that's never going to happen. Madrid are gonna we'll crush this quickly. Okay, well he doesn't start a game. Well, he wouldn't want to come to Arsenal. Agents and talks with Arsenal, doesn't start another game. He's on the bench. He deletes tweets, whatever. It's funny how goalposts shift very, very quickly. I feel this is we're at least going to be serious and bid and try and get him out of Madrid. I don't know who we go for if we don't get him. It feels a bit like Rodrygo or bust, but ultimately with these types of players, you kind of have to do that. It would have been Isak or bust, right? If we were able to do that. So you just have to do it. And I think for that level of quality, he immediately comes in as one of, if not our best player. And he's extraordinary.
You said it. You said it there. Like, obviously, we've been linked with Nico Williams, and Barcelona were taking all around the houses with him. Leao rumors every now and again. In the ideal world, you get your Gyökeres and all the signings that we've been linked with through the door. This is the only guy I want to see dragging into the season, if you can't get it confirmed, just because so many dominoes need to fall in place. As you said, I don't know who we get in place, and I'm a hypocrite, but I'd imagine Arteta and Berta. You need a left winger. Whoever the more realistic target is, kind of do what you're doing with Madueke now with Rodrygo, because we need a lot of dominoes to fall where Rodrygo's concerned. Madrid have to make it clear he's for sale. Xabi Alonso has to make it clear that the level of minutes you're going to get, you're not going to get. And with a heavy heart, where he's kind of grown up at Madrid, he's going to want to have to leave. And then you've got all these clubs involved. PSG, ironically, I don't think you would start off the left, but it's Enrique. It's a great project. You might say, I don't really care where I play. I just might have more importance there that I'm not exposed to at Madrid. Man City is Man City. I know, they struggled last season, but it's still Man City. They've got Pep Guardiola. And you probably take whoever's place that is off the left. And I do think Arsenal could sell him a project. He'd never have to play against Miles Lewis-Skelly again, even off that right-hand side, unless it's in training. But boy, I don't know. It is what it is. And I know the club are not stupid. If you're going to get Rodrygo, it's a decent fee and it's good wages, but you're going to have to want to shatter that glass ceiling. And that's with the backdrop of getting already existing stars new deals, the uptake in wages with everything else we're doing. And I don't want to mention them, but you do have to look at moving forward, especially if Odegaard's form persists. Kai Havertz, in terms of how his role is going to be, Gabriel Jesus with the wages he's on, and there's somebody else, Martinelli as well, which it'll be quite intriguing. I mean, Rodrygo would whet the appetite. Do you feel there's a bit of mixed opinions with him though? Because I want him. I don't go as far as to say he would be like an Alexis Sanchez type kind of signing. I think he would change our lives, but I don't think he's as good as Alexis was at that point of coming in. And there's also some that say he's not really that good. They look at his numbers and whatnot. Like, once we get past the fact that it's Madrid, then he's great and whatnot. Is he are we overrating him?
Maybe a touch, but I think if we put him in the right positions for us, technically, like there's fewer just the ability to do anything they want with a football, like sleeping with a football level of technical quality. There's not many better. So I think he also works really, really hard, and I don't think we'd lose anything particularly in that sense. So possibly, I mean, I don't know how people rate him. I don't put him in like the Vinny Salah level or whatever, but he's the tier below for me. I think he's that good.
I think I'm with that, and obviously he can play in a bunch of roles. And if we got you off the left, if we've got Saka off the right, if you've got Gyökeres, if you've got the Kai Havertz's asterisk Merino up front, provided Martinelli and Trossard stay, we've got numbers being chipped in. If I'm completely honest, and I think everybody's following hand of Arsenal. Big him up. I think he's winning the summer. He says that his preference is Arsenal. Things can change in a blink of an eye. Martin Zubimendi, man. This is what I call a floor raiser. Sorry, ceiling raiser. Definitely not. I think this man is going to be special for us. I think he's not like Declan Rice, of course not, but in the sense that we thought we knew what Declan Rice was when he signed for us and how Arteta's kind of changed him. I think I know what I'm going to get with Zubimendi, a bit of like a Jorginho type, but I think we're going to see a lot, man. Like I'm really bullish about this signing. I think he's not getting the hype because obviously Gyökeres has overshadowed it, and we've been linked with him for about 2 years. And when we was frustrated in January, people didn't really want to hear about this. So I feel people are kind of over it. But what are you saying for Zubimendi, man? Surely I'm right to be excited about my man.
Yeah, it's really exciting. It's the sort of signing that, you know, maybe this just says what I feel about football, but that's the most excited I'm going to be this summer is watching Zubimendi for Arsenal. Like he's going to really cook for us. I'm really excited.
Cook, man.
I think it's the right time for him. I think it's the right time for us. I think you're bang on in terms of the fact that it's taken so long to get there means that we're not. If David Ornstein 2 weeks ago dropped Arsenal interested in Martin Zubimendi and then we got the deal done, there would be, oh my God, Arsenal are serious. It's just because it's happened very, very slowly. But mate, we had to do that. We, in the same way Declan Rice, sometimes there's certain targets. We're talking about obviously Berta and Edu and different approaches earlier. Certain targets, I think you have to take your time. You have to, because they're going to move they could move anywhere. They could move to Liverpool or Madrid, or where was, you know, Bayern were looking at Rice. When you've basically got options anywhere,
volatile situation,
you have to put in the hard yards, and I think we put in the hard yards in this deal, and it sounded like he was convinced. I think it's really, really exciting, and I think for the midfield, people are very quickly, Thomas Partey's name from a football perspective will
forget him for obvious reasons, and we've got Zubimendi now.
Yeah. So,
but then I got to ask you about Norgard. Obviously, he's not going to be like that level of Zubimendi. Is kind of a squad filler, but like, what do you think of Norgard?
I think it's a good deal. Like, it's a good deal for the price, etc. Again, this deal, and in the similar to what we were talking about earlier, every deal becomes better depending on what else we do. Victor Gyökeres looks better if we sign Rodrygo, and Rodrygo looks better if we sign Victor Gyökeres. Eze looks better if we've made sure we've got qualities across the front line. You have to judge it as a group, in my opinion. I think for the price he is, we did an episode on him on the Cannon podcast, and my co-host George,
check that out, folks,
calls him Rodri Light, which I'm sure people will love. But I think I actually think it's a good comparison because he's
Zubimendi or Norgard?
Norgard, because like in terms of like similar physical qualities, similar sort of technical qualities. Obviously, Rodri is miles clear of him in terms of like the actual quality, but Norgard in terms of like that idea in our minds, that slot in our minds, that squad role, the physicality, the progressive passing, the one-touch stuff, the sort of holding it down. I think there's a comparison to be made there. So I like it. I don't think it's going to play much, but I really like it.
I think he's going to play a lot more than we expect. Personally, I expect him to be a peripheral figure. Maybe on, you know, when the season gets like, it's very condensed. We've got 2 games a week, 3 games in 10 days. Maybe eases pressure off people. We all know the cups will be his bread and butter. I was a bit worried. I won't mention his name, but the man who left, that you said his name, and obviously Jorginho. I think we needed a bit of experience to come in that regards. And let's be honest, this is like a tie-over signing. Probably within the next 12 to 18 months, maybe 2 years max. We probably are going to bring in another 8 and a 6, and I think everyone would expect some level of a 10. I think it's decent. I'd say the one thing I'd look at with Norgard is something that goes against him. I know you're not quite a destroyer, but the ball winning, all that kind of stuff, that's you to a T. And I think the set piece coach is going to like you. I just want to see what you're like with a ball. I'm not expecting you to be Zubimendi or Rice. It's just naturally we are on top of teams 9 times out of 10. So it'd be interesting to see. It did take me by surprise, not only the name being linked with him, but also the speed that we moved with him. So it'd be interesting. We've gone over Noni Madueke. We've also gone over Wanyeri. Quick word on Miles Lewis-Skelly. New deal. I mean, there's not much you could say on that. We've gone over Tommy Asu. Mascara, talk to me about him.
Yeah, we watched him. I think there's a lot to work with, like physically. I think if you look at the trends of the Premier League in terms of the amount of athletes that are entering this league now, it's like just like their top 1%. Like it's turning into track and field, bro. Like it's crazy. Like you need like proper sprinters and runners, and he is that. He's a really, really good athlete. I think in the air, not good.
He's got a lot of things I think he needs to improve. Like, but I expect that at 2021.
Good, I was watching clips of him tracking the flight of the ball. He literally can't do it. It's crazy. He literally is
flat-footed. Very flat-footed. Like he does have a gaff in him. Now I'll allow him because he is young, because I actually would feel more comfortable you playing right back or deputizing there at this moment in time. But if there is, well, we've improved a lot of young players, but if there's one area that players have got better and better and it's evident, it has been defense in it. So there's him. And I just think we need bodies in it. I think we've got false depth defensively in that defense, or the defensive unit, especially with Kepa and Ryan now, is where I thought that's where we're the most well stocked. And I still maintain that. But then I look at it like, well, Tommy's gone now. Zinni's probably gone. Tierney's gone. Kivior, subject to speculation. Calafiori, unfortunately, has been a bit injury prone. Have to wrap Miles Lewis-Skelly in Cotton Wool. Timber post ACR to play a lot of minutes. Ben White the same. So I do think we need another defender. People got onto me on this very channel that we're using when I said I think we'll sign another defender. I even would go as far as to say I want to, because I'm with you with the left back thing, quote unquote. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I think that would be natural. So bring my man to the carpet. Really, I've got no issues with that. We've gone over Kepa. Big up Mehmet Ali for leaving. Would you make a Carlos Cuesta cutting? And we've got Gabriel Heinz in now. I see you tweet about it.
Yeah, I love it. I'm a big fan of Cuesta leaving. I think he's going to do really well. Big fan. And yeah, look. I mean, Heinz, like, I'll be real, I don't know loads about him, but from the stuff I have seen, and I'm looking forward to seeing more. I think it's another very committed, forward-thinking coach. So great, cool.
Wish him all the best, type of thing. Trossard, though, he could be leaving. Do you think he leaves? Would you sell him for 20 million euros, as stated here?
I think if we're getting Eze and Rodrygo and Šeško, I think he might have to. Yeah. I love Trossard, and I think he's a brilliant player. And at the beginning of the summer, when it all kind of depends, and people were saying like, who would you sell and whatever. I think there's a world you sell Martinelli over Trossard, because Martinelli is the asset. Martinelli, I don't think quite suits the club, etc. Like
he's getting us money.
He's getting us actual money. Like I think we could get 60-70 million for him. So yeah, it just depends what you're trying to do. But
because I understand Martinelli still starts.
Yeah,
if you get Madueke.
Yeah. So yeah, it just depends what you're trying to do. So I don't know. I think the one thing with Trossard is, again, I'm looking at a league with proper athletes everywhere. Like there's just everyone's so you have to be either 1% technically or 1% as an athlete to even get by in this league now. And I don't think he's either. So I think I'd rather sign maybe a really, really athletic young winger and try and get more out of him, or sign a really, really technically gifted young winger and try and get more out of him. I think he's just a little bit caught in the middle.
My last question for you. As it stands, where do Arsenal finish in the Premier League? I've got us third.
With the players,
some reason to look back and say
I'm players we've currently got over the line.
Yeah, or have us third. Like where we are. Realistically on the 7th of July at 2:20. Yeah. Where do you have us?
With Zubimendi and Kepa over the line.
Yeah, everything that's over the line so far. You know what? Throw Gyökeres in there because we hope it gets done, innit?
Okay, with Zubimendi, Kepa, and Gyökeres, I think we come second. So I think if we get
Eze and Rodrygo's for you.
Yeah. I think we are very, very close. Say if we get an Eze, I don't think we win it if we get Rodrygo.
Well, Arsenal, you know what you need to do, man, and that is the end, people. Alex, let people know they can find you as usual. A big pleasure having you here, and an extra big pleasure because I don't know if you lot have just cut in. I don't know what happened over there, but his internet, the whole house, it's all mad. The mic was all mad. We apologize for not being here, but he still made a way, and I appreciate you for that, man. But where can people find you? What you got to come out? All that stuff.
The Different Knock on YouTube and the Cannon Podcast. You can follow me on all socials at Alex